Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Arcane Assist. I'm Tim, joined today by Evan, and we're doing kind of a cool match today. We had a couple of requests for folks to play some Cephalyx, so we will be playing Cephalyx in the channel. Evan is playing Exulon Thexus, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, in the somewhat updated operating theater.
Access to machine wraiths and pistol wraiths, which I think he has some of the best pistol wraiths in the game.
Yeah, pistol wraiths are terrifying in this list.
Yeah. I really dig them. And I'm practicing some trolls. You don't get to see Tim play trolls on the channel very often. So I'm playing some Madrak1.
Yep. So, do you want to start, or shall I?
Jump into it. Let's do it.
So, Exulon Thexus in new operating theater. So my battle group is going to be 3 wreckers. They'll get hyper-aggressive from the theme benefit. They're just the best monstrosity you can take most of the time. Just really hard-hitting beaters. You know, as per usual. And they hit even harder with Cephalyx Agitators. That give them that nice +2/+2. As we previously mentioned, the Pistol Wraith, incredibly useful in this list, because you can TK stuff around and then stationary it with your 2 now Rat 9 shots, Rat 11 if you aimed. Very useful. 2 units of Mindslaver and Drudges. One of them gets the ambush benefit. A min unit and a max unit of Mindbenders. And now that your dominated merc option counts towards points, you get an additional unit of Cephalyx Overlords in most cases. So I now have 2 as opposed to the 1 I would have previously had with this list.
Yep.
And then a dominated Aiyana and Holt just to add even more armor cracking to this list on top of the things like Adrenal Flood and Agitation from the Agitators onto the Wreckers. So it's a pretty hard-hitting list that has a lot of control elements with one of the heaviest control casters in the game in the form of Thexus and some cool things like Pistol Wraith stationaries.
Yeah, I think it's a really good list. And Evan and I were talking about how much he's always enjoyed Exulon Thexus and is really sort of looking at maybe playing him on a regular basis in steamroller environments. For my side here, I've been testing and playing around with the idea of playing trolls for the Americas Team Championship. I'm going down with a team of Canadians, and we're going to see if we can play as well as Americans. And so this is a Madrak1 list that I've taken through a handful of iterations. I really like it, and I feel like Madrak1 post CID has a lot of really, really incredible tools and is doing very, very well. The concessions that I've made in this list are about being able to dig a little bit deeper and about being able to spread out a little bit wider. So the classic Band of Heroes, because Crix is an issue and dealing with a lot of tough infantry can be a problem. And in his battle group, I've got a Bomber and a Mauler. The premise there being that the Bomber gives him access to the Snipe Animus, but is also a beast that can do a lot of work on the approach turns. And the Mauler allows your Bomber to be able to trade well with another Heavy and is a good late game piece. He has a Rune Bearer, which I think is just kind of the ingredient that turns Madrak on so incredibly. When he needs to, it discounts even ground for him and increases his control area to 12, which I think turns him into a playable caster. For solos, I've got a Fellcaller Hero and a Stone Scribe Chronicler. And then I have a max unit of Creelstone Bearers and Stone Scribes with the Elder. I have disagreed politely, and sometimes not so politely, with John about max versus min stone. The right answer to this question is still a subject of significant debate, and if you've got any thoughts about it, please give us a comment below. But I think I'm playing a max unit of stones because I think I can fill it up with the change to Awaken the Stones, and because I really want to be able to split with this list, be able to go really wide, and still have that stone aura. I'm playing a unit of champions with Scaldy and 2 Trollkin Sorcerers, playing a max unit of Fenblades with their unit attachment, and I have a min unit of Long Riders.
All right, sounds good. And with that, let us get to deployment. All right, so I won the die roll and chose to go first. I feel like I want to get as far up the board in such a way that I don't get threatened by Long Riders and champions immediately, and I can make good use out of my feet to get this really heavy alpha strike before Madrak gets to feet to prevent me from charging. And I want to do as much damage, kill as many champions as possible before Madrak feats on him, and then they all heal to full, because I'd rather kill some champions than have full health champions after I put a bunch of work in and gave some pieces up for that. In terms of my deployment, I'm keeping one unit of slavers in ambush. I have on the bottom the min benders and the max drudges, and then on the top is going to be the max unit of benders. They're going to try to take that top zone and hope for some support coming in from the ambush unit. There's also going to be a unit of overlords on either side of the table. The 3 wreckers are deployed centrally with Thexus, where he can provide that aggressive reaction with his large command bubble, as well as just have some protection with Sackpawn.
At this stage, are you thinking you're ambushing them on the top circle?
Yep. I think typically when I play this Thexus list, I think that I deploy the larger unit that's going to be alone for a little bit longer on the side that I'm anticipating to ambush, and then I'll deploy the min unit with the other max unit of Drudges, just because that support's already there. They have enough models to take over certain zones and stuff like that. So that's my plan going in.
Okay, cool. Tactician warrior models helps a ton for Madrak, so my setup here is a little bit less unpack oriented than often my troll deployments would be. I have placed the bomber in a spot where he can come up, threaten the zone, but be like a central piece that offers artillery support. I'm expecting him and the Fenblades to be responsible for trying to take over this bottom zone. My champions are deploying centrally so that they can be the threat that they are. I'm also deploying them such that they can unpack without dealing with too much rough terrain there. The Long Riders are probably going to get the Fell Call on the first turn so they can start fairly far up, and they can not have to worry about the giant pile of rubble in front of them. Madrak is right in the middle with the stone, and I'm hoping to get some fuel in that stone early. Especially going second, Madrak has to make some interesting choices about whether the stone pops aura on turn 1 or whether or not he casts even ground on the first turn.
So in my first turn, thus far, I've TK'd 2 wreckers up. I haven't allocated anything to anyone, I don't think. And I've run the first unit up of Drudges, and then in the unit of Slavers, benders, rather, I ran 3 of the unit behind the larger Drudge unit, because I'm anticipating adrenal flooding them for the next turn, so they're in position to get on the models I want. Kind of going to be able to push them around that train and then get some good charge vectors. At least that's the plan. And then my agitators / overlords are poking the wreckers to give them focus. Reasons I don't have to allocate include these.
Yeah, the Cephalyx chassis, just as a reminder, they don't power up, but they also don't lose focus, and when they take damage, they gain focus.
Yeah, I'm still having this debate every so often when I play Cephalyx. Do I just load them up turn 1 and not cast decel, and then next turn I don't have to bother? Or do I just TK them forward and get that extra threat range on turn 1? There's a lot of options, and I think it depends on the matchup. And I think in this game in particular, I want to be as far up the board as possible in order to take out whatever I can before that Madrak feat happens.
Yeah, one of the things that Madrak has as a really powerful tool is the ability to really brick that champion package up. But Thexus has the ability to just sort of pull it apart with the push on his feet. One of the strategies I thought about, because my list has Tactician, and it doesn't really bother me if my stuff's really interlaced, is just packing Fenblades around champions as kind of an insulating force and putting them kind of interspersed among rough terrain. So it's harder for you to really get that spacing. But I ultimately decided that you'd probably just pull an inch through rough terrain and then kind of leave millimeters between them, and it would end up forcing me to seed positioning on scenario.
Yeah. Also, I ran the Overlords near the top unit. They're probably going to score there. And then there's also some benders there, the unit. And then I also have Aiyana and Holt fairly centrally. And then up on that hill, there's the Pistol Wraith right behind my objective, just ready to poke at whatever he can. And then it's on to your turn.
Yeah, so my turn's pretty simple. The stone unit advances, and they awaken the stone. They get a Fury. Madrak dumps some Fury into the stone. I put up the aura. My champions move right up the board, aggressively, standing in the middle of everything. And Madrak is a little bit behind them, and he has even ground up this turn. The bomber stays in Madrak's control and far strikes itself, takes a shot, scatters to the 2, scatters a couple inches up, and I think clips one of the Mindbenders, maybe Drudge.
Clips 2 of them.
2 of them. So, yeah, we roll some damage there. D-Cell actually helps you quite a bit here.
It's true.
I
Makes
end
them
up
arm
deciding to
17
boost.
as opposed to arm 15. So that changes it from you needing to roll an 8 to rolling a 10.
Yeah, that's a really, really important swing point. I boosted damage on both, and I managed to kill one, let the other live, which is pretty reasonable for a 50-50. We just moving my Mauler up into the zone so that it can, be that late game heavy that I previously talked about. The unit of Fenblades is just running. A position they're facing with a bit of an eye to the possibility of ambushing on this side instead of the top. Fenblades are really, really decent at infantry clearing. They're not the best armor cracking piece, but they do so well at clearing infantry, especially with the cleave effect. If you don't need to take something down, or if you're just attacking a model that happened to have tuft or something like that.
Yeah, they're certainly a powerful tool in a list that has, against a list that has something like 40 infantry models like mine.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I think that Tim has pushed the Fenblades really far towards the bottom hand side of the board, and I think it's worth ambushing a unit there just to take out as many Fenblades, get that alpha in the bottom right now, and just get an advantage. Not to mention, by looking at the top side of the table, it looks like he's pulled almost everything he has away from there, and the Overlords are just going to be able to have free reign of that zone regardless. So I don't feel like I need to commit this unit to the top zone. And I feel like it's going to be a huge scrum for this bottom zone and for the middle. And the top's going to be a little bit lonely.
Yeah, Evan's not wrong. I think that's a pretty good read on the state of the board. I'm hoping that he ambushes into the Fenblades. I think that's an exchange that I feel pretty okay in. But it's going to come down to some tough checks, and it's going to come down to some dice. The top zone is actually kind of a problem. I've got Long Riders who can kill things in it, but those Overlords naturally have Pathfinder, and they can linger behind that forest, and they can score that zone. So I can't ignore them, and I can't really do anything about them. So that's a problem for future, Tim.
Yeah. Something else about this bottom unit of Overlords, had I been a little bit more attentive and paid attention to the way Tim had actually faced his Fenblades when he moved them here, I probably would have ambushed them a little bit deeper into his side of the table, just because I didn't realize most of them are facing this way, so I'm not going to be able to get into that second and third line as I was planning. And I probably could have gone further because I'm way out of range to do anything like Adrenal Flood or buff them up in any ways. So they're not really like missing anything if they're just further down the board.
Yeah. There's a little bit of like a U-shaped experience to the Fenblades, whereas the ones that are closer to being in charge range of things are also like pivoting and further up the board. So I think if you'd ambushed like 6 inches further down, you would have had maybe 2 less charge targets, but if you ambushed 4 inches further down, you'd probably have 2 more. So
yeah,
that's a good line of play.
So here I moved my unit of benders from the top unit. They just walk because the Cephalyx model with the anatomical precision had to poke my wrecker so that it could run forward after the objective gave it Pathfinder to be an arc node in the perfect spot for me to get some sweet TKs off, as well as use my feet to pull all the champions forward, as I'm just doing now. Thexus being where that proxy base is, not where his actual model is. He's a large Spider-Man and doesn't fit it where normal models should.
Is he a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
I don't know. He kidnaps people and turns them into mindless drudges, so probably not.
How would you describe the rate at which he arrives?
Anywho.
Is it just in time?
You're the worst. Anywho, here, I often have this debate in my head as to whether or not I should save Thexus's feet to be a late game like scenario piece and just push models out of zones when I really need it, or if I should use it as this extreme threat range tool where I can just pull whatever my opponent has put forward into the threat ranges of everything I have and then get even further with TKs. And in this particular scenario, I feel like it's best to just separate all the champions so they don't have D-line, pick one forward, turn it around so I can throw some debuffs on it. So I'm probably going to double hit it with the Pistol Wraith, stationary it, and then throw harm up on the unit with Aiyana from Aiyana and Holt's unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then that gives me a huge damage swing on this unit of champions. And that'll allow me to kill probably more than I deserve on this unit because they're just so hard to kill with Sanguine Bond.
They really are. And that +2 defense that they get for being base to base is, I think, a huge part of the impressiveness of their staying power, and just being able to turn that off and functionally turn off even ground by giving back arcs to pieces. Like I think this is actually a really smart line of play.
So that's how we're using Thexus's feat today. This Pistol Wraith can just barely aim into Scotty's back arc, so he's gonna shoot Scotty twice and stationary him.
Are you calling him Scotty?
Scaldy?
Scaldy.
There's an L in there.
Scaldy Bonehammer.
And then
He's the
Aiyana and Holt
second drunkest.
are going to walk
troll.
up. Aiyana's going to harm.
Yep, casting harm.
And Holt is going to shoot twice. So Aiyana gets the harm off, barely. And then Holt shoots. I don't believe he does a whole lot of damage. I think he maybe does 1 point here with harm.
I mean, his shots are affected POW 14 because of the debuff, so your dice -4. It's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. And am I playing with the Wrecker here? Go up, do a big ol' Thresher attack. Because with Thresher, all the attacks are simultaneous. So after that, all three have happened, is when you assign damage.
Yep.
And then, I'm also in the back arc of two of them, and Scaldy is stationary, so I'm auto-hitting him and doing a ton of damage. I'm POW 17. I forget to move the Agitator up first.
That's a big deal. That drops you down to mat 5, right?
I'm only mat 5 now. Instead of needing the 7s I would have before, I believe it's 7s. I now need 9s, which is much worse.
Yeah, well, and against the guy you need a back arc on, you still would rather need a 5 than a 7.
Exactly. So
the paralyzed guy you auto hit though.
Yep,
and
I kill Scaldy.
Yep. So you start with him and you hit, and rather than distributing all the damage to Sanguine Bond, I force you to buy a couple more attacks that need to make attack rolls.
And they all miss. Not great.
I'm good like that.
This other Wrecker only has one focus on it right now. So I'm debating where to go. Do I go into the back champion? Do I go into the front champion? The one that I can get a back arc on? Maybe I just go into both and just see what damage I can possibly do. Because the goal is obviously like leave as few champions alive as possible. So I remember to move the Agitator up now. Then I move the Wrecker.
Yep.
Wrecker goes after Agitation has been put up. And he's going to hopefully wreck some stuff. So, barely hits after he boosts. So, good boost there, me. And then it's POW 21 against your arm 16.
For obvious reasons, you're not thrashing here.
Yep.
16 once you factor harm, 18, right?
Yes, your arm 18. So, it's dice plus 3.
Yep.
Which is pretty good, because I'm 17, 19 from Agitation. Harm is 21.
Yeah, I actually end up spreading out the damage on this particular attack.
Yeah, so you take a ton of damage on all those champions. I get another swing in, hits because of Agitation, and then you're going to make a tough check on that champion that's spun around, and it dies. So we've killed 2 champions. It's a good start. It's a good start. Hopefully we can get some more. But I think for now we're going to start on these charges. Now this is the point where I realized these reach front arcs that are actually facing towards me are going to be a problem.
Yeah, they are kind of like spread a little bit wide, kind of trying to embrace your ambush.
Which is not like, it kind of feels like they were expecting the ambush, which makes it less of an ambush.
At this point, everyone expects the Spanish Inquisition. It's a Monty Python reference.
No, I understand. I got that one. It happens sometimes.
You get things.
I get jokes. Things. I get jokes. I charged 2 Drudges into the first Fenblade there, kind of block his front arc so that I can get a couple more past him.
Yep.
So 2 charges on the second one as well. Last guy just runs in, do some more engaging, hopefully get some more Drudges from prep for surgery.
Yeah, it's a really cool ability they have. They RFP the models they hit and then add Drudges to the unit. So these Fenblades are dropping their swords and being all bandaged up and having their arms replaced with saws.
In an impeccable time, too.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
You think it'd be a longer process.
It's like next generation Borg. That's what these are. They're just quick.
So after a couple of CMAs,
yep,
this Fenblade is knocked down. And then he dies.
And he becomes one of your friends.
Yeah. I think I placed the model later. I think I kill some Fenblades and then place the models.
Yeah, you've killed 2 Fenblades so far.
There we go. We had some friends. They might have different colored hats, but they're still our friends.
It's pretty impressive.
Look, he dropped a base size.
He did. It's the sword. The base size is all sword.
Okay. Last guy survives because he makes his tough check and is in even ground range. So he's even still standing, the bugger. This unit of Drudges just walks. The Cephalyx model is going to arc some adrenal floods, do some pushing, hopefully get a Fenblade, kill a champion, and maybe get in on something else. We'll see.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I'm going to adrenal flood 1 in front of the train that you can see. 1 is behind the train that you cannot see, and it's going to get a nice little clear charge lane by my wrecker into that champion in the front zone.
Yep.
Which is actually kind of reliable with +4 mat and +4 strength.
Yeah, adrenal flood is really incredible when it comes to just accuracy.
And then I'm also going to run to engage that Fenblade just in case I kill it. Then I can add another Drudge to the unit that's probably just lost some
for
dudes.
surgery.
Add them to the Bender unit so I can get some more adrenal floods later on. So, just making sure everybody there is in command. There's a nice little half circle around the Cephalyx hiding behind a train. I barely hit that champ. With harm, I have a pretty impressive POW strength here. Managed to kill that champion, do enough damage that you decide not to transfer it, because otherwise you'd probably be taking multiple champions down, which is dumb and you shouldn't do. And yeah, we're moving on to the other Fenblade at this point. I hit, he fails his tough check, and I add a Drudge to the Bender unit, as we previously discussed.
Benders are just multiplying like crazy.
Yep. All right, so what have we got left? So we'll still have to move those Overlords into the top zone, have a scoring threat there. Also worth noting, some Drudges are knocked down because of Hero's Tragedy from the Chronicler. So when I kill Fenblades with melee attacks, they knock down my Drudges, which is going to be
specifically as warrior models and during activation.
Correct.
Both those things apply to those Drudges there.
Yeah, and it's going to be very, very painful when you go and use your vengeance on them. So, over to you. What's the plan, Tim?
So obviously you've got me between a bit of a rock and a hard place. I'm staring down the barrel of multiple wreckers, and I've got a vengeance move with the Fens, and then maybe some cleave attacks. Like the kind of things that I can do a lot of infantry clearing type of work with, but that I'd like to be really careful about. So, checking some measurements here.
Yep, just moving through rough terrain, getting your vengeances where you can, starting mostly with knockdown models.
Yeah, so the models that, because of the Chronicler's Hero's Tragedy, became knocked down, they're prime targets for vengeance. I can clear them out. I don't have to roll to hit. we can just roll damage on them. The folks who started in that giant pile of rubble, because they only moved an inch and a half, it still allows them to set up some like good charge vectors for when they do mini feet.
Yeah.
So, making some attack rolls. Rolling damage on these guys, because they're only pound 12. And Drudges are armor 15.
Yeah, Drudges, for being a small base unit that you get a ton of, 15 is a pretty respectable armor stat for that kind of swarm tough unit.
Yeah. It's the thing about this list that I really like is it does have that kind of mixed combined arms approach. Like, obviously, the real anchor of the list is the champions, but even against somebody like Thexus, who has the ability to collapse some of their defense and really bring to bear good armor cracking against them, it's got stuff like Fens that can clear infantry and really fan out and sort of spread. And the Tefalo, who have access to things like being able to slam things and to kind of be a dynamic repositioning unit.
Tefalo are something I definitely underestimated when I was first looking at this list across the table, for reasons you'll see soon. But they're certainly more impressive than they look on their card.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird nuance about them, and I find them awkward to activate unless, for example, they can go through each other, which they can with Madrak's Tactician ability. They don't get a lot of use at a Bull Rush because they have to slam directly toward a model. They are, however, enormously durable. They're aptly named as, or aptly nicknamed as Tefalo because once you've got even ground up, being 1420 in the stone is a crazy good stat line, especially when you have 8 boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. So here is something I completely missed about Tim's list. He has a bomber, and the bomber checks a bomb, hitting 5 Drudges. So I'm going to have to make a bunch of tough checks.
Yeah, the bomber's kind of a hero.
Like, last turn it was like, oh, it's scattered and hit 2 toots, I don't care. And this turn it's like, oh, shoot, I just really bunched up here.
Yep.
And it killed a bunch of them. You didn't break armor on 2 of them, so that was nice. The main guy also toughed.
Yep.
But now that's just a prime firing beacon for the second bomb.
And the second bomb is one of my favorite things about the bombers. They have reload 1. So they can buy a second attack with their barrels. They huck just, giant explosive bombs.
And they also have open fists for some reason, even though they're holding barrels.
Yep.
So Fenblades actually getting a charge order.
Yeah, they're popping their no quarter mini feat, which gives them access to Pathfinder, plus 2 inches of movement when they're charging, and so that's actually the extent of what no quarter does. It used to do things like cause terror, which obviously is gone in this game, and give pluses to hit, but now it's just the plus 2 inches of movement and Pathfinder while charging. So, couple of hits, kills a guy. The interaction here between Cleave and the sort of pseudo takedown ability of the Theme Force is really interesting. Against models that Evan has they're already knocked down and therefore can't make a tough check, I really want to not choose to take them down so that I got my second attack, which is the Cleave attack. But, I mean, I also definitely have to kill them. And if a model were to tough because I chose not to take it down and then say be returned from play by the officer in the middle of the zone, that'd be a really big problem for me.
Yeah. Although that said, all that's left alive in this unit are 2 Drudges. I really wish that guy that took a free strike had toughed because that way you wouldn't have scored the zone. But, yeah, whatever. Wishful thinking. Anywho.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
now.
Clearing this zone out is a really, really big deal for me. I mean, as on the second player's second turn, like that's where we are right now, getting that early point is pretty critical, especially if I want to get a bit of a scenario lead while still continuing to play an attrition-based game. It's good. So, I'm looking to see now where the Tefalo can do their Bull Rush order. They're going to get Pathfinder from the Fellcaller, which we already just did. Pathfinder and then ran into the zone there. And then we're going to go ahead and see about slamming one of them and charging another. I sort of look for a couple of options before concluding that I think 2 of them have to charge.
2 slam.
Sorry, two slams? 1 charge, 2 slams.
Yep. So that's the first one charging there, and then 2 more are going to be slamming. So you can just barely fit between the champion and the 2 wreckers. And the last one just has a very clear line to a wrecker.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the plan here, slam wreckers into wreckers, knock everybody down.
Little wrecker bowling.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a Miley Cyrus joke here we can make. You have opinions.
I mean, sure.
They have cool rules. They can slam something and then move it d6 inches and then move the distance that it moved and still make a melee attack.
Yeah, they have follow-up,
Mm-hmm.
which is hilarious on a not war beast.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it in a few other places, but like I really, really like it here.
So actually, you don't slam a wrecker into a wrecker. What you are going to do, however, is slam a wrecker into your own Tuffalo to get the additional damage die.
Yep. Yeah, don't say I'm not willing to let one go down for the creels.
Yeah, you're also, I believe, killing an agitator by slamming a wrecker on top of it here.
Yep, that's really, really good. And getting rid of those agitators early. I mean, I'm hoping to get rid of Evan's heavies, but I'm totally happy to get rid of the things that allow his heavies to deal with my defense. Because that's kind of a really, really big problem that's present in the list. The Madrak has to be asking that question of defense every turn. And if Evan can just TK me, turn me around, get +2 mat, like all of a sudden those wreckers are not hitting the uphill battle they want to hit. Currently need to roll 11s.
Yeah, it's not great because they're mat 5 and you're def 16. So I need to always boost or use my shenanigans to get mat boosts. So you're doing pretty good work on these wreckers right now.
Oh, shenanigans. Yeah, so the champion's having just 2 Weapon Master attacks.
Well, we haven't even gotten to the champions.
Pardon me, sorry.
We're still on the Tuffalo.
Tuffalo are not Weapon Masters, but they do have the ones that charge get POW 14.
Yes.
And the ones that don't charge, they're doing the Bull Rush order. The Bull Rush is POW 14, and then when they follow up, they also get a POW 12 attack.
Yes.
If they get to make a second attack.
Yes.
So now it's time to go with the
first
stone.
this is stone. Yeah.
Yeah. Positioning the stone is often a little bit challenging. Madrak really, really likes to see the stone activate first so he can know how much fury he got and how much he wants to put into it personally so he can plan his own turn. Awaken the stone helps a lot with managing that fury issue and finding it in a nice, comfortable spot to hide, tucked kind of behind this forest is really, really smart. I'm constantly concerned for the danger of my stone because there's a few things in this game that really just can kill them.
Yeah, I think some of my best tools for it include like just a unit that can be sprays suddenly.
Yeah.
That ignore line of sight. And it helps because I can hit multiple stone members with it. But that's kind of all I got. It's not a great tool because I have to actually hit and break damage or break armor.
And like hitting is becoming an increasingly challenging prospect with the defense 14 on the list.
It's true. So here are these champions. Ready to be weapon masters and brutalize a thing. You also get your free razor wind guns before you charge with the sorcerers.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things about the sorcerers is they've got this cool rule called
Combat
caster. Yeah, combat caster. And because the wrecker's knocked down anyway, I'm just like, let's throw some POW 12s into it before this unit charges, and do a couple points of damage.
Yeah, it works out all right.
Yeah.
And then your weapon master charge, and it hurts so much.
Yep.
So first champion goes. I think it just kills this wrecker. That
almost kills the wrecker. I mean, been softened up fairly considerably by the Tuffalo.
Yeah, for sure.
And a little bit by just like the poking and prodding of Cephalyx Overseers.
It's true. I did arc a couple of TKs through it, so it had taken a bunch of damage already. So this champion goes into the other wrecker. This one's at full health, but you're just going to see just how much damage these champions are doing if you can see my phone screen here.
Yep.
It's like 2.5 attacks. Now he's down by half health. Third one goes in, it has 7 boxes left. I think on the last attack just kills it to the box.
Apparently, there you go. That's what champs can do, is just do so much work. I have also crippled body on that one Cephalyx.
Sorry.
Sorry.
The one in the back is on the ground right now. Hasn't had a crippled brain yet. However, Madrak has a throwing axe.
Right. He's knocked down in your zone. Actually, one of the things that I planned for this turn that I sort of just forgot about while getting excited about how much damage I was doing to Wreckers was repositioning those Cav into your zone.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I talked about doing, just kind of be a contesting piece.
Well, the one you could have repoed in, I think you knocked down, didn't you?
Yes, but I didn't knock it down until there was an interval at which I didn't have to do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he ended up getting knocked down, and the other guy who actually did the slam, he would have been able to. Maybe. I mean, they're in rough terrain. It's possible he wouldn't have been able to get in anyway. So.
Well, anyway, the important thing about the Madrak activation is that he threw his axe at the wrecker that's knocked down, which took out its brain, removed the 3 focus it had just gotten, and means it can't shake knockdown next turn to go into this lovely blob of dudes and get a big thresher.
He also ricocheted, and who did he hit with the ricochet attack?
Aiyana.
Ooh. Killed her, blood boon, even ground.
She didn't. And he gets blood boon on the throne axe.
He sure does.
And she did not make her tough check.
Correct. She gets tough in that unit, which is really sweet.
It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
But alas, no tough.
Removing multiple sources of your real armor cracking and then feeding to heal the champions to full this turn, I think that's a real question for you. I think that's a real puzzle. Now, obviously, I'm feeding to heal to full champions, few of whom are dead.
Yep.
That's a problem.
So, comes to my turn. I have some problems to solve in the middle, but I feel like it's better to get work done first, so I can't allocate anything. I'm going to go straight to the Overlords in the top zone. These 3 sprays should be able to take out this 1 Fenblade and score me a point, no problem. He is... was he just out of the Storm or just in? I forget. I think he might have been just out.
Yeah, just at the very edge of it and squeaking on the outside.
So first spray hits... Dub once for damage. That's fine. I got 2 more. Second one misses. Okay, I guess I only have 1 spray. Hits with a 10. And leaves him on $1. All right. Maybe 3 sprays was not enough.
Yeah, I got lucky here. I'm not going to lie. Those Overlords should definitely have killed that Fell Caller.
I think I wanted to at least force a tough check, because if I did that, you would have at least been knocked down, because I think you're out of even ground where Madrak's standing so far away.
Yeah. I mean, Madrak's trying to cover a lot of board. I talked a little bit before about how much I feel like the list kind of needs to be able to spread in those zones. So I really am just sort of bleeding pieces in that top zone.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, I have some sprays through my Bender unit, but I can also do some work against the unit in the forest and get 3 different dudes. So I'll throw 1 spray at the Fell Caller and 2 at the Tuffalo, the Sorcerer, and a champion in the middle of the board. All right, so this 1 spray is all I need. I hit. I break armor, do 1 point.
1 point
and
damage.
You tough. Great. So we're not clearing that zone quite yet. Against the guys in the middle, I think I hit the Tuffalo, miss the Sorcerer, hit the Sorcerer, miss the champion.
Mm-hmm.
The Sorcerer goes to enough damage to die. He toughs. Under even ground is not knocked down.
Oh, even ground is so good.
Probably
the best spell.
I think 1 or 2 points to the... I think I actually missed the Tuffalo and hit the champion. Second spray on that unit only hits the Tuffalo.
Yep.
Does 4 points to the Tuffalo. Nothing else to anybody else. And that's where that unit is. So I lost 3 models, and 2 trolls made tough checks.
Yep, that's pretty incredible. That's a really strong turn for me.
Yeah, really bad attrition swing for me. This wrecker, who is on the ground, is probably going to get TK'd forward and just do a Thresher after I heal its body and brain.
Because one of the things that was challenging for you is that model could not be...
Could not shake, could not get anything
you
out
could
of
not
it.
get back up from knockdown, could not be relevant in the zone, could not walk into the champions. So I think you're hoping to be able to forward movement to stand up and then get a really relevant activation out of him.
So, Holt moves up to shoot the Fell Caller. Rolls boxcars for damage because Holt knows what he's doing today.
Man, you kill 1 Aiyana and the dude goes crazy.
Yeah. Turns out.
Turns out he does go crazy. That's awesome.
Turns out. Agitator moves up. Backup Agitator. Gonna agitate. Do his normal thing. And this is a bit of a tank turn for me. I have a lot to think about in terms of the best way of doing things. I move these guys into the zone. I roll because I think the UA has influence, and then I check my phone, and I'm like, what's the magic ability on this? Oh, it's non-existent because he doesn't have influence.
Yeah, some of the Cephalyx have access to really, really cool signature, like kind of taking control of people's spells, and others obviously don't. Like, I mean, I think it's just a point cost thing.
So that doesn't happen, and I'm sad because I didn't have a rule I thought I did. And I move up the bottom unit of Drudges, Benders, those ones, the spray ones, and I do some more sprays. This hits like 4 dudes.
Yeah.
And by hits, I mean the template goes over 4 of them, and then the model dies and kills none of them.
Yeah.
And that's that activation. 1 model for literally nothing. Cool. Let's move the rest of the Drudge unit. Add some more guys.
Yeah. So at this point, you're just trying to stay alive.
Stay alive. Just get some attrition against this monstrous attrition list that has a lead now, which was not what I was hoping for after that first turn.
Yep. Well, that Madrak feat is really like healing back those champions. It's a huge big deal, especially because that unit is so difficult to dislodge.
So this is some cool tech that I really like. So 2 models engage 1, kill it. Add a dude that is in melee with the dude that was alone, who kills that guy and adds another unit to the model to the unit. So you just get more bang for your buck than you're expecting because you just kind of waterfall dudes into the zone.
Yeah.
These Cephalyx Overlords are just going to go into this corrosion bath, get some good spray angles. Hopefully kill some more models. Just, again, get as much attrition work done as possible. Last Overlord's just going to move to keep command up because Cephalyx have pretty low command stats.
Yeah, you'd think they might have higher, but I think they're really trying very, very hard to keep you within 7 of
them. 3 of these 4 models are in the Stone Aura, so some of them are having a worse time than others. That guy toughs and is in even ground, and that was the UA. So he's one I particularly want to kill. Second spray actually does take out the UA. Thankfully, he doesn't tough that time. I believe he takes out 1 other model who fails a tough check, and that's the unit leader.
Yep.
So I've given this unit vengeance now, and I've only killed 4 models actually, sorry, which is pretty good. I've done some good attrition work against this Fenblade unit.
Yeah. And that's really important because they will just take over this whole bottom side of the board.
And they've already done a great job of doing that.
Yeah, they're the infantry clearing in the list. So that's sort of their job.
Yeah. That said, everything else isn't bad at it. Champions or Tuffalo can kill 3 models a turn with slamming and a melee attack. Champs have 2 initials each.
The thing about the Fenblades is access to Pathfinder, really, really simple. Variable threat range, and then the fact that you have to really just wipe them in 1 turn, so you're not taking like 1 Torres token each week.
Yep. So, what do I want to do with Cephalyx? Well, I have some options. I'm going to Hex Blast the Sorcerer. I hit. All right. It's a POW 13 on that Sorcerer, and I force a tough check and kill him.
Yep,
Great.
he's dead.
Step 1. I decide to boost, I think... Oh, I realized boosting blast damage on one of them isn't great, so I decide to boost blast damage on the champion now that there are fewer models in the unit to transfer to.
Yep.
Do 1 point, and you transfer it to the Sorcerer in the back. Unsurprising. I also Psychosurgery to heal the 2 points off of the Wrecker I need. And
which is really relevant because he didn't have a Cortex, right? Or a brain, should I say?
Yes.
All right. Well, just measuring this, getting a little bit more precise.
I also moved Thexus to the side a little bit, hoping to get some cover from this train, just because he's not very safe in the middle of the table anymore because of the Tuffalo in the way.
Yep. We got this Wrecker going to town.
He's doing a Thresher. He's hitting fewer models than I'd like him to hit, just because of the defense skew. I think he only hits the knocked down Tuffalo, and then does not do enough damage to kill it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a liability to get that Tuffalo knocked down in the first place, but I felt like slamming something into him to get the additional die was worth the extra damage.
Yeah. This Pistol Wraith is going to stand and aim.
Mm-hmm.
I debate moving him over just in front of Thexus, but I figured if he's incorporeal, it's useless. So he stands and aims, shoots the Tuffalo leader model.
This is actually really rough because you probably can't kill him, but you will prevent me from giving orders. Yeah. And you hit both super effortlessly.
I reduce him to 1 box and stationary him.
Yeah. So that's actually kind of the best of both worlds for you because 1, he's on 1 box. 2, he's like not getting up anytime soon, stationary, stuck where he is, unable to give orders. So you basically put a tether on that unit quite tightly and locked that model right down.
Yeah. Best situation I could have possibly had from that. And then it's off to you. So you're doing some vengeance moves. What's the plan for this turn, Tim?
Well, again, Fenblades have to do a whole bunch of clearing work. They have to clear basically this entire zone. So I'm really hoping I get some good vengeance attacks, and I can RFP some models. I get lucky on the bottom here, managed to kill the Cephalyx and a couple of Drudges. And I'm hoping on the top I can kill some more Drudges.
Again, Bomber going to do some work here.
Yeah. So Bomber, again, got the whole zone in his hand. Takes his shot. And he'll boost damage.
Yeah. Hits without boosting on the Cephalyx. Yeah. Drudge makes a tough check. Other Drudge is knocked down. Can't make a tough check.
Yep.
Second bomb. Kills that Drudge. Cool. Your Bomber has killed 3-4 models.
So things in that zone that are going to be a bit of a problem if I want to score it. You've got a couple of Overlords. Now, are they defense 13 or 14?
14.
14, because the leader models units are typically 13s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this thinking, like, do I need Guided Hand on those Fenblades? Are the Fenblades even the ones who are necessarily going to kill it? Like, what else do I have to worry about on this side of the board? Because as this board rapidly collapses, Madrak has a new home for his brick where he can score points every turn.
It's true. Madrak is at the point in the game where he can kind of just be far up the table, get work done with Wrathrock being thrown.
Yep. Don't take it lightly, because if the stone does strength, it's the old POW 16, bounce it around out there.
Yeah, the ricochet rule is just insane.
Yeah, it lets him just go for so many greedy lines of play where he just grabs things and kills them.
So you are moving some Buffalo. I believe you've knocked down the Wrecker again.
Yeah, I knocked down the Wrecker, which is pretty cool.
And then Tuffalo repoed into... Because you crit knockdown with the mount and then repoed into the zone. Yeah. Again, didn't do a huge amount of damage to him, but that's not what you need right now. You just need to control him because champions are probably going to just kill him.
Yep. That's the long-term plan, is to deliver my champions and have them... I'm not... Like, just in terms of the way that the table has shaped up with our really dense, rough terrain and line-of-sight blocking pieces, I'm getting a lot of work out of the space on the table, but unpacking it has been a real struggle.
Yeah, I've kind of... We've been in this little chokehold between the caboose and the forest in the center of the table. And the only thing that really let you spread out there was putting March on the Tuffalo, who kind of came in from a flank, but they were going down, so they just kind of choked you up even more.
Yep.
But you've been able to clear this pretty effectively.
Yeah, and unsurprisingly, Fenblades are doing the infantry clearing job that they were put in the list for.
And the way you've spread out your stone here is really well done. Just because you've got 3 contesting models in that top zone from the stone unit, the others in the middle completely safe behind that forest, and the stone is far down in the bottom zone, just protecting every one of your pieces that's getting work. And the radius is 11 inches, so it's even tagging 2 of those stone members. Yeah,
this is the a lot of people don't realize that the elder, the Stone Scribe Elder, is actually the officer in the unit. So he's the person you measure command. So I've got basically my entire bubble on one side of the board, and like almost double command away from it is like 3 relevant contesting models that are like somewhat hard for you to remove. Non-trivial.
Yeah. So you're removing more models here with, I believe... just some more Fenblade activations. Yes, because this is them actually activating. You did Vengeance.
Yeah,
already.
the Mauler came over and killed a guy who was in the zone. A couple of Fenblades charged.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to kill some Cephalyx here.
This is the zone clear turn.
Yeah, so I get a couple of good charges. The third guy has Guided Hand, and he doesn't kill this guy. They all hit because they got Guided Hand, and they're in there doing their thing. But they're armor 13, and the Fen blades are POW 12, so I just don't kill that one.
Yeah.
I mean, they get a point of armor from the stone, or point of strength from the stone, should I say? But I'm still only dice even, and I rolled dub ones. Just doesn't kill that guy.
So I think worth noting at this point in the game, I scored. We're tied 3-3 right now, I believe, in terms of points. And you're about to swing way up on that because you're gonna just go right into this zone because you didn't even need the champions to kill the wrecker, as it turned out. You just needed some axe throwing.
Yep, the axe throwing is pretty good. If you've ever done that as a sporting event, it's good fun.
Yeah. Anyways.
They kill the objective, too.
Dead objective. So that's another point for you.
And Overtake Champion just positions a little bit better. Gets base-to-base with his friends. So I'm now also threatening Thexus a little bit.
Yeah, this is scary. So Thexus' only real defensive tech, other than D-Cell, which is not good enough, is Sack Pawn Monstrosity, which is good enough. Except against melee attacks.
Yep.
Because he's a 14/14 with 14 boxes.
We got our whole band of heroes in here doing some work.
Yeah.
So what's your plan here, Evan? What are you trying to do?
Below 10 minutes on clock, and I have to kill 3 models that are in my zone. So I'm going to use these Overlords that failed me last time to do some sprays.
You're going to use models that failed? They worked so hard on that
They're
poor
the
color.
only option I have. So this guy is actually just going to do a melee attack because I don't want you to be able to do the tough check.
Yeah, because they have anatomical, right?
Yep. He misses.
Because these guys are in that even ground.
Yep. This guy on the end is not, however. So I do a spray. Guy toughs after we leave the table. And I miss the second guy.
Yep.
And then the second spray from the Overlord kills the first guy, and then the second guy toughs.
Yep.
So there's still 2 models I have to deal with here.
They're just gonna make you work really hard for removing
way
them
harder
from that
than I'd
zone.
like.
Yep.
So Holt's gonna go. He's gonna move up. The Dominator's also gonna walk up. Holt's gonna miss his first gunshot, hit his first gunshot because he's 8, and then do no damage.
Yep.
And then shoot the second gunshot and kill that guy. And I'm like, great. Holt was supposed to kill both of those. Now, how am I going to deal with this guy on the ground?
Yep.
I'm going the unit with sprays, I guess, that are just going to go. So the first guy's just going to go and like melee attack the dude on the ground because he can.
Yeah, that's not like his favorite job.
No, like he needs to roll a 5 to kill him, and like I've failed more 5s than I like, but I roll 5 Exacxies. Zone cleared. Part 2.
There you go.
Again,
easy.
Killing trolls is way harder than it looks, guys.
Part of the problem is knowing what kind of resources you do or don't have to commit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. The knockdown token there is because the stone unit this turn had Hero's Tragedy from the Chronicler.
Yep.
Yeah, which is, I think, extra tilting because, once you kill that piece, you're knocked down.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's only melee attacks.
It is, yeah. So
Holt
Holt
was
shots
fine
and the
'cause it's
sprays were
gunfighter.
fine.
And sprays are magic abilities, so whatever. I believe I throw out a really rad spray down these lines. 2 of them, in fact. Get some damage in where I can. Most importantly, on the Sorcerer. I roll boxcars on the Champions unit, so they spread it around a bit.
Yep. Champions can just tank so much damage.
And then we realize the spray is simultaneous on everyone, so I have to roll damage on everyone, and then you spread it out.
Yeah, so we marked the damage on the champions, and then we spread it out. It didn't end up being much more. You get a couple of sprays in this kind of like line.
I think it's just 2.
Yeah.
and then one more somewhere else. Yeah, we're talking about defense on a Tuffalo here. It's high is the answer.
Base 12 goes to 14 with even ground.
Yeah.
Oh, defense 14.
I think the gist of this is I kill the sorcerer and do a tiny bit of damage to everything else. Not a whole lot. Again, clock's really low. You can see him at about 3.5 minutes right now. So I'm just trying to figure out like what I can do to even remotely salvage this game. Pistol Wraith shooting some dudes. Finishes off 2 of them, which is pretty alright. Oh, sorry, that was the Hex Blast from Thexus. Or now is a Hex Blast from Thexus. Rather, into that little cluster of Sork, Champ, Tuffalo.
Yep.
Getting what work I can out of Thexus before he bravely walks the other way.
Dub 1s.
Yep. Yeah, kill the Sork, though.
Good job, Thexus. You killed the squishiest part of the champion brick.
Now I'm in the position of walking directly away and having a champion and Tuffalo threat me, or walking around the caboose and dying to a bomber instead.
Yeah. Yeah, the decel plus 14/14 stat line is not going to save you from just bombs.
Especially when I didn't cast decel.
Yeah, no, exactly. And what are you camping here?
0.
0 camp.
Like, there's not, like,
yeah.
It's not going to save me if I get hit with the kind of firepower you're pulling out.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Overlord spray down there kills a dude.
Yeah, it's I mean, like, the sprays are good. They let you attack at kind of really nonlinear vectors, but just my whole army having the +2 defense makes it really, really hard to chew through that just swath of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Drudges didn't even have a hard time hitting this game because of Vet Leader and Combined. But, like, the no knockdown tough is a huge problem. And the even ground provided a huge problem for my little mad wreckers.
Yeah.
So, yikes.
It's really, really costly for them to deal with things. They have to sort of boost.
Your bomber actually frenzied this turn.
Yeah, he does, which is actually kind of a problem. I left one on him. He frenzied. He freaks out, punches the Axer.
And now you determine
When I say Axer, I mean Mauler, but yeah.
What is your best route to victory?
So my thought here is I'm actually in a weird situation. Because the Mauler left that bottom zone, if I want to score the zone, which won't take an insignificant amount of work, but I think is quite possible, if I want to score Evan's rectangular zone, I need to put the Mauler in it. And for Madrak to score Evan's rectangular zone, I need Madrak to be also in a either in the far zone or in the close zone. And I can't, like, Madrak can't get the work I need him to do in the top corner of Evan's zone to clear it and also run to be in it. And I can't afford to really have a turn I don't cast even ground. So I decide, fuck it. Let's just see if I happen to kill you with just rolling real good dice.
You leave Thexus on 2 boxes with a champion that missed his first attack and hit his non-charge attack.
Oh, yeah. This champion's so good.
Ow, pain. Pain, ow. I believe you move the rest of the stone to contest my zone.
Yep.
Because step 1, you can't let me score or else your entire scoring plan has gone to shit.
Correct.
Step 2, you decide whether or not you actually want to score or whether or not you want to just kill me.
Yeah, I decide that since that attack spiked pretty well, I did lots of damage to you, I'm going to see what killing you is like. Like, just does it happen incidentally? If not, you're jammed up by a bunch of shit. And if it does, then, well, let's go back to trying to score out a scenario win. So I, send the Fens in, so they're in position to threaten Thexus, so he doesn't have very many places to hide. And while they're doing that, they clear the zone.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Fens are done.
Yep.
What's next?
I really, really want to get, work out of Madrak here. I'm trying to find a way the Madrak can, toe both zones and throw his axe and bounce it into a guy, and it's just, 100% not happening. So the Felcolor activates, gives Pathfinder to this unit. of Tefalo, and they're going to charge.
So 2 charges on Thexus from Tefalo.
Yep.
They're cavalry models, so they'll get boosted to hit. They're Mat, 7?
Yep. Sorry, Mat 7 base. And second one...
You did the impact and charge on the pistol Wraith first.
Yeah, sorry. The pistol Wraith who shot last turn, he was
Yes.
corporeal, so he gets an impact and charge. And that's enough to kill Thexus.
Yeah, the singular attack from the Tefalo on Thexus.
Yeah,
kills him.
I just needed to hit. The rolling a 7 and getting the 3 dice to hit really helps.
Yes.
And then Thexus, as we established from the champion, had, 2 boxes left?
Yes.
So I think that's a fairly dominant win for Madrak in this particular situation.
Yes.
I will, full disclosure for anybody who just watched that game and is like, Madrak is super busted. This looks really good. Evan and I played right before this game. I had Madrak about an inch or two too far forward and just, got killed. Right off the bat. Thexus was just like, I got you. I can grab you from anywhere. Pulls the Red Sea apart, pulls Madrak forward, pulls Wrecker forward, and just kills him.
Well, here's what really happened. You were like, what's the threat range on a Wrecker? And I was like, 14 inches. Great. Madrak is 14.1 inches away from the Wrecker. And then a bomber activated and threw a bomb at a Wrecker. And then hyper-aggressive.
Bomb threw a bomb at a guy and it drifted under a Wrecker. And then did a little bit of damage. And you're like, okay, so do I resolve the hyper-aggressive now? And I was like, oh, I fucking lose. And we decided that we've had... I mean, I know that it's often our approach that for the quality of games, we always want to showcase, the games that really happened. I just felt like we've had a lot of games recently. Not to take anything away from Evan's win in that case, because it's absolutely a win. But... we've had a lot of games recently where that's kind of been the swing point. And so we wanted to show a game that looked a little bit deeper into the development cycle. This is clearly a game where I've played a few more games of Madrak than that one. And it shows, I think, in the way that the table shaped up.
For sure. All right. I think that's about it for us this week, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And be sure to follow us on all the social media for more updates on what we're doing as well as our videos. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.